Alright, everyone. Hey, I know we've talked a decent amount about tools this week. I had the video about those shaft carving tools that I had gotten in the mail. One other tool that I recently got, it's a marking gauge. Now, the ones you've probably seen in shop, if you've had me, look a little bit like this, or similar to it. This one's a little bit older than the ones we have in shop, but that thumb screw loosens on the top. We can set it wherever we want it. This one does have a ruler imprinted on it. Tighten that up. There's that spike in the bottom. What we can do is lay it in a piece of wood. It'll scratch a line. We always talk about, scratching, cutting a line is a bit more accurate than using a pencil. What can that be used for? Well, laying out dovetails, laying out mortise and tenons, even laying out box joints. We usually cut those on the router in the shop, but you could use it for that. If you're laying out maybe where you're going to put a rabbet on a board, you could use this. The one thing though about this style of marking gauge is what's doing the cutting or in this case scratching. When you go across grain, it really likes to tear up the grain. It doesn't really, and I'll bring that over to the camera. You can see how it really is tearing it. It's ripping the grain up, and it makes a fairly wide line. Where, if we're trying to fine-tune exactly where we want our line to be, that's not really helping things because it's leaving such a wide mark. And yeah, maybe I could grind down that tip to be a little bit finer, but it's still going across the grain. It's going to leave a pretty rough mark. What's cool about this one that it came in the mail this past week, this actually has a circular blade on it. Okay, it's got a lot smaller fence to ride against a piece of wood, but it has this little wheel, and that's actually a blade. Just screws right into the end of this post. And what's nice about this is, small for one thing. It's just as adjustable as this bigger wooden one. One thing, it doesn't have a ruler on it, so you'll have to use a ruler or a machinist scale to set it up. But it works the same way. Hold the fence nice and tight to the piece of wood. You can let it roll on your fingers. Sometimes I do that, or you can just drag it straight across. But what's really nice about it is how fine of a line it leaves. You can see my fingernail riding in that compared to the one over here. So it does a really nice job leaving a very fine line. Now this came in the mail to me from a company called Lee Valley. They're up in Canada. They make a lot of their stuff. It's a really nice product. We have a few of their tools in the shop at school, and I have no complaints with the tooling we purchased from them. What's really nice about this thing, it's called a pocket marking gauge. I think it's what they call it in the internet on their website. The fence has a countersink in it, so when I push this the whole way up, that wheel blade sits down inside the face of that. All I have to do is tighten up that little thumb screw, and it locks the fence up over the blade. So I can actually drop this in my pocket if I want to. I can put it in my apron pocket. I don't have to worry about it cutting my clothes, the apron. So I can actually carry that around with me with my machinist scale at school, in my shop here. It just saves me a little time. I don't have to bounce back and forth, to grab things. It's another tool I can keep on my person. Saves me a little time, and it's a really nice, high-quality tool. I think it came out to like $23. And I know they have way more expensive ones on their website, but as far as right now, for what I do in my shop, I can't see myself needing the other ones at this point. I think this is going to do just as great a job as anything else. The other nice thing about it is, in case you didn't notice, it is dual-sided. Okay, there's a wheel on either side. Where this is going to come in handy is stuff like dovetailing. You know, I can set different depths, you know, at the same time. Anywhere that I might need two measurements, I can set one for each side and just go. I don't have to keep bouncing back and forth and resetting things. So this seems like it's going to be a pretty good time saver for me, something I can carry with me. I can set up for multiple measurements, and it can safely store those cutters inside the heads of these fences. So it's kind of like a win-win-win for me. I'll throw Lee Valley's website up at the bottom of this video if you want to check it out. Seems like a really nice tool to have in your kit if you're thinking about doing a little maybe hand woodworking at your shop over the summer. Some projects you want to tackle. If it's a little bit that you're going to be using some joinery, this is an awesome little tool that I think will really help you out. So until next time, Mr. Booher at Spruce Hollow Woodworks. Hope you have a great rest of your week.